Hi everyone. Yes, I know I'm wearing a Christmas jumper. I'm just trying to get into the spirit. In this video I'm going to show you how to fully transform the look of Family Historian from this default view to this view, which I prefer. It's personal taste, and once you know the principles involved, you can easily create a view that exactly suits your accessibility needs and your eyesight. Later in the video I'm going to demonstrate some quick keyboard navigation, and navigation that I wasn't aware of for several months after owning Family Historian, and I find it very useful and great to move about quickly. Accessibility is such an important subject. Basically, it's having the flexibility to get a computer program or something else you use best suiting your needs. You can imagine my surprise to read these comments on a Family Tree Maker Facebook group for 2024. The latest version of Family Tree Maker 2024 does not do much to respect users' visual differences. That's what we call visual accessibility. You can see these various posts. In this last one, this user just states they simply cannot use Family Tree Maker 2024. Shocking. I also hope you're having some fun with AI after the last quick video. I fed it this screen capture of a list of addresses and facts over time, trying to understand some of these family name links. It produced a table for me quite quickly from the image, offering to sort it chronologically, which I allowed it to do. And then it offered to produce this visualization as a timeline with different coloured dots for different event types. Not bad, and something I could have done with years ago. Back to this presentation. I'm using the Family Historian sample project which ships with the product, so you can follow my steps exactly. If you want to follow them step by step, hit the pause button after we make each change and make the same change on your own screen. Let's get started. This is the default view with Family Historian coming out of the box. This is the sample project, and you'll probably be on Ian Stephen Monroe because he's the root person. We'll talk about the root person later. I'm here because there's two relationships and I want to show both those, and I want to show those on the new screen layout. Family Historian is highly customizable, and where you go to do that is Tools, Preferences, and you've got tabs down here for all of the various windows and options, and each one will display a number of things you can change. For this demonstration and changing this display colours on the focus window, go here, top right, it says Customize View. Click on that. And the first thing we're going to change is in the display tab. There's a drop down list here, and it doesn't go below 100%. However, you can type in 85% if you wish. And if I apply, we'll see how that shrinks the display down and gives you a lot more data on screen, but it's more challenging on the eyes. I would do that if I wanted to cram more information onto the records window. And you can see I have all sorts: birth, marriage, spouse, death, death place, burial place, relationship, parents, load of information that I normally display there. And I can sort on any of these columns, ascending or descending, to get exactly the data I want. Here's relationship, here's parents. If you want to discover how to customize your records window like that and save several different versions for different types of research, then check out this video on the left. Anyway, back to the presentation. So for this one, I'm going to change the display to 140%. Watch when I click apply, punches up. The other thing I want to show while I'm on this, if you look at the toolbar here, there's quite a lot of white space on my screen. If you're the same, I would recommend that you click this box to include key diagrams on the main toolbar. Now watch here when I click apply. We now have 4 additional icons, so we can select different types of diagrams. And if you have the space and you're not on a very small screen, I suggest you do that. Having those diagram keys readily available in the toolbar, you can quickly select a diagram type like both, hit OK, and see the ancestors and descendants of Anthony Edward Monroe in this case. You won't get this colour coding or indicator icons in your sample project. However, all sorts of diagram highlighting is possible. Watching this popular video will show you just how to apply your own colour highlighting and icons. And notice that this diagram is now parked on the left hand side. You can flick back and forward between it and your main work at any time. The next thing I want to change is some screen colours. So I click on focus window here, and there's a lot of options that you can change here. These are the defaults. Later, I'm going to put on descendants and record IDs. That's when I go to the navigation part of this video. Fonts and colors down the bottom here. We're going to start with colors. You'll see there's a lot of options, and I'm only going to change maybe 6 of these, 7 of these. Click on any entry and you'll now see the hex code appears. If you're not sure what focus window fill applies to, simply go to the hex code and delete one character. And now you can see exactly what you're going to be dealing with. If I don't remember what that character is, restore to false. But I'm going to change that to 333333. Lovely dark grey. Press pause and do that on your own copy if you want to follow this step by step. The next one I want to do is tab fill. And I'm going to change tab fill to 929292. Mid grey. So you can see how things are starting to shape up here. The next one I want to do is box fill. And box fill is going to be FFFFFF, which is white. Then title fill, FFC761. It's a nice orange it highlights it nicely for me. That pale blue is not very easy on my eyes. Title selected. I'm going to change that to the same. FFC761. Now that's a bit difficult if you think about it, because I don't see how do I tell the difference between it being filled and being selected. Well, here's how we do it. So title fill, to show me where the keyboard focus is, I'm going to edit. I'm going to define custom colors. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take down the brightness, intensity, whatever you'd like. And you can see the box in the bottom here changing as I do that. So I'm going to do just a lighter shade of that. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm happy with that. I want to differentiate slightly between these two. I'm going to quickly apply a deeper shade to title selected and apply the same color and shading to selection active and selection inactive. You're not missing anything, and I will copy all the default hex codes and the ones I applied in the comments section down below the video. The next thing I'm going to change is the child heading. So the code I'm going to use is FFFFDD. It just softens it a little. Let's have a look. So where you'll see the difference, and I'm using the arrow keys here, this will be covered later on in navigation. I can see that the keyboard focus at the moment is up here. And if I start the arrow down, I can see that he's now selected. He's got a slightly darker color. He's now deselected. Where the focus is at the moment is on this tab bar at the top. One more down. Michael, Anthony, and then into the children, and I can choose any one there. So let me go customize view again. The text color is not punchy enough for me at the moment, so I'm going to make that black and maybe bold the children. So how do we do that? Again, customize view, and down here we go to fonts. So at the moment we can see that grandparent and parent are both bolded. They're both font 12. I'm going to bold the child. I'm not going to increase the font. I'm just going to bold the child. So I click on the child, edit, and you can see all of the choices I have here. Fonts, regular, oblique, bold. I'm going to click bold. And you'll see these bold up. Once I click apply, now we have a punchier display. And remember, on all of these screens, you can click restore to false and you're back to normal. So don't worry about getting confused or getting your program all messed up. Click OK. There's still a bit of a blue tinge off the text, but it's not bad. It's close. It's quite discernible. But I maybe want to change that. So again, I go to colors and box text. I'm going to change that to black. Black is 000000. White is FFFFFF. That's hexadecimal code. If you can remember that, then you're good. Incidentally, 6-character hex code is equivalent to 16,777,000. So your color scheme is not going to be exactly like mine. There is a lot of possibilities there. So now we have black. And that's really our screen layout finished. Personally, for me, I'm happy with that screen layout. I can hear you asking, where do I get these hex codes? And it's a very valid question. Well, you can get them from a graphics program, and I lifted these shades of grey from Adobe Photoshop Lightroom. In Family Historian, you're free to select any colour from the colour picker and save those colours as custom colours for future use. Let me show you how. Go to the component you want to change, Select Edit, followed by Define Custom Colors. You have a complete color palette to choose from. Click anywhere on the palette and you'll see the preview of the color. Adjust the brightness if you wish. If you like your choice, you have an option to add that to custom colors. You'll see that the custom colors start to fill up, and don't worry, you can replace them. If you want to replace any custom color, then click on it, select the replacement, followed by the Add to Custom Colors, and it'll be overwritten. You make the screen the way you like it. Family Historian has enjoyed a load of migration from previous RootsMagic users following objections to the new program design. If you're homesick for the RootsMagic color scheme, then 006358 is what's typically referred to as RootsMagic Green. I'll put the hex codes for the changes I've made in the video comments. If you like my scheme, then you can replicate it. So I'm going to move on to navigation. But the first thing I want to do before moving on to navigation, I often read on forums the confusion about the root person. The root person is the person that you enter first into your database. You might start with your grandfather and then add his children and then down to you. That means your grandfather will be the root person. Unless you change the root person will be record number 1, the first record that you entered. So if that was your grandfather and then you entered his children and then entered your generation, you might be 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 record number. You can change the root person. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Customize View again, and on the focus window, Record IDs. I'm going to also check this box, Descendants and Spouses Dates and Record IDs. That's the only two changes I'm going to make there. I click Apply, and if you look at any of the names, you'll see that suddenly a number appears alongside them. So I can see in this database, Anthony Edward Monroe was entered first, Julia Amanda Fish was entered second. Ian Stephen Monroe is the current root person, but he is record number 6. Record numbers are also referred to as RINs, RIN, you maybe hear people saying. The first thing I do is press the space bar or enter key to change the focus person to Ian Stephen Monroe, arrow right to his wife Charlotte, and arrow up to her father Alan, then hit the space bar. The focus person is now Alan Carrington, and we can see he is the father-in-law of the root person, who we know to be Ian Stephen Monroe. Family Historian updates these relationships immediately, as we can see here. I remember back when I was using RootsMagic, you actually had to run a utility to update relationships. Also in Family Historian, you can report these relationships and sort on them on the records window. That still cannot be done in RootsMagic. I simply right-click on Alan Carrington and select Make File Root. You would normally make yourself the file root, but if there's a family that you're extensively researching, you may want to make a member of that family file root temporarily. For the second piece of quick navigation, let me switch focus to a completely unrelated family. This family will not be in your sample project, as I added them as part of another video. To get back to the file root, I simply hold down the Alt key and press the Home key on my keyboard. I will arrow down to Charlotte, press the spacebar and make Ian Monroe the file root again. With the arrow keys and spacebar, I'm going to climb Ian's tree to his great-grandfather. But how do I remember my way back? I don't need to. Look on the left. Every person has a little magnifying glass alongside. When you hit the spacebar, that's where you focus. But notice Michael Monroe has a down arrow. That is my navigation path back to the file root, whoever that may be. Using the arrow keys, drive to that person with the arrow, press space, rinse and repeat until you get back to Ian. What about a back and forward button? I can see them here in the property box and also a parent button. Look to the left of the focus window and here are the back and forward buttons, albeit small. The good news is you don't need them, as Control and left arrow will take you back and Control and right arrow will take you forward again. Using those keyboard back and forward shortcuts, I can quickly get back to someone I was working on maybe half an hour ago. For those unfamiliar with Family Historian, this panel to the right is called the property box. You have tabs for facts, notes and media. When you navigate to the person you want, Alt and Enter will take you to the property box to start moving about with the tab key and making changes. There's really so much regarding navigation, and I really just wanted to get some new users moving about more quickly. The subject really deserves a dedicated video, but for now, press the Help button and select Family Historian Help. Click on the Search tab and enter Shortcuts, followed by the List Topics. Double-click on the keyboard and mouse shortcuts and you'll find a full list of Family Historian shortcuts. I do hope you got something out of that, and I did the subject justice. That's it, and I know you'll have got something from that. I'm hoping to produce the Grab the Web video before the end of the year, providing nothing goes wrong with the sleigh. If you find anything useful, a thumbs up would be appreciated, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell to get notifications and make sure the bell's black. As always, your comments are welcome down below, and I'll leave some videos hanging here in the out section. If you want to watch any of those, just simply click on them. Thanks for watching.